During this past year, I've been trying to play all of the Naruto related games that exist on this channel. During this journey, we have covered every Naruto Ultimate Ninja game that has ever been released on consoles and handhelds. So, what better way to finish off this series than by ranking every single game on this tier list? But before we start, I have to say that these are my opinions and based on my experience, so our results may vary. But okay, let's start off with the first ever Ultimate Ninja game. I was pleasantly surprised by how much content there is for the first Ultimate Ninja game. The story mode consists of character sagas, where each saga is a what-if story in which the selected character acts as the main protagonist. This is a great concept, but sadly never reused for the later games. The story visuals also feel like they are from a manga panel with still frames of the characters talking. The mission mode is a mech game mode. The missions are basically 1v1 fights with extra conditions, and some conditions are quite annoying, like trying to beat Neji using only shurikens, which took me a long time. I think I have PTSD from that mission. The battle mechanics in this game are the foundation that the subsequent games will build upon. To me, they feel the slowest in the whole series. The stages are very colorful, with multiple interactable characters from the show that makes the stage feel more alive. The animations of the ultimate jutsus are also really good. For this, CC2 over-delivered when it comes to ultimate jutsus by giving each character 3 different ultimate jutsus, each with multiple stages and awesome animations. This is a really strong and creative entry in the series, especially for being the first game. The only thing that is lacking is the roster, which is quite small. Some characters like Kiba, Ino and Shino are not playable, but are visible as supporting buddies. All in all, I would rate this game as a B. It's a strong first game in the series. Ultimate Ninja 2 is a huge step up from the previous game. The story mode is now presented with in-game cutscenes instead of the previous still frames of the characters. The story continues where the last game left off, starting with the Konoha destruction arc and finishing right after the Tsunade rescue arc. There is also next to filler story mode, which is the same length as the main story and is actually pretty good in my opinion. It feels more like a main story than a filler. The game also gives us the chance to wander around the Konoha village and Tanzaku town, interact with people around the village and so on. This was a first for the series at that point, and I have to say I really enjoyed it. It made me feel as if I actually was in the Konoha village. Completing side missions and story missions allows you to level up Naruto in a new RPG system. Oh, and there are some new minigames that the players can enjoy. Battle mechanics have stayed mostly the same. The main difference is that the attacks are now quicker and the ability to juggle enemies has been introduced, which is a nice addition. However, the biggest downside is that the stages don't feel as colorful and lively as they did in Ultimate Ninja 1. They removed the interactive characters and left only interactable objects. The roster has been updated to include a bit over 20 characters, some of which are goofy and funny, like Naruto and Lee's training outfit, and one of my favorites, Orochimaru with his sealed arms. I appreciate how they added more creative characters and didn't just stick to the base ones from the show. All in all, it's a huge step up from Ultimate Ninja 1. I would rate this in the A tier. Ultimate Ninja 3 is my favorite Ultimate Ninja game and it holds a special place in my heart. This time we have 2 modes, History Mode and Contest Mode. History Mode retells the entire Naruto series through multiple main story battles, which are followed by descriptions and in-game cutscenes before and after. A new addition in this game is some awesome looking CGI cutscenes, which are a real treat. The other mode in this game is the Ultimate Contest, which features a filler-like story of Naruto trying to win a special contest in order to create a new rule in the Konoha village. I spent most of my time in this mode when I was a kid. The best part about this mode is that it introduces full-fledged 3D free roaming, at least within the Konoha village. This blew my mind when I was younger. Some new minigames were added here that would later be used in Storm 1. This mode also brings back the RPG mechanics, allowing us to level up Naruto or any other character and customize their jutsus and ultimate jutsus. The roster is relatively the same as in the last game, with only a few new characters added. The battle mechanics in this game, at least for me, felt even faster and smoother. A new addition allows us to bounce our enemies and continue juggling them. I love this game and it's very dear to my heart. A big part of my childhood was spent playing this game, and in my opinion, it is one of the best Naruto games based on the original series. I'll put this in the S rank. Ultimate Ninja 4 felt a bit disappointing to me. The main story mode starts off with a mediocre filler story that takes place before the start of Naruto Shippuden. After this, the main story is retold, but it only goes up to the middle of the Kazekage rescue arc. This left a sour taste in my mouth. Why not wait a bit and release the game when the arc is complete? Additionally, the filler story, in my opinion, is lackluster, mainly because it forces you to travel back and forth through this cave about 3 times, which is filled with multiple platforming sections that become really annoying over time. Free roaming makes a return, but it feels more like navigating through corridors compared to Ultimate Ninja 3. However, we are able to travel to multiple sections of the world, each of which is unique in its own way. Another mode in this game is History Mode, which is better in some aspects and worse in others compared to Ultimate Ninja 3's History Mode. Now, some sections are presented with anime still frames and small text, which feels a bit underwhelming. But in this History Mode, we do get new in-game cutscenes for fights that were in the previous game's History Mode, which adds a fresh feel to it. One downside is that to play this mode, you have to collect orbs to unlock the chapters. The orbs are scattered throughout the main story world, so be prepared to spend hours searching for the last missing one. As for the fighting mechanics, there's not much to add, except that it felt even smoother in this title. The roster here is a mix of all the original characters and the ones available up until the end of the story mode. I'm a bit mixed about this game. The filler story is dragged out by tedious platforming
for me. The main story is only retold up until the middle of Kazekage Rescue Arc, and the need to collect orbs to play another mode makes me place this game in the C tier. Ultimate Ninja 5 is like Ultimate Ninja 4 but on steroids. It takes everything the last game did well and multiplies it by 10. The free roaming no longer feels as restricted or corridor-like as in the previous games. The story again starts with the Kazekage Rescue Arc and ends with Naruto and Sasuke's first reunion, supported by awesome CGI cutscenes. The map is essentially the same as the last game, but with a few new sections added. In the open world, countless bandits will try to disrupt you on your journey from one place to another. There are also extra filler missions in this game where you control Naruto and Sasuke as they go through 19 floors of Orochimaru's lair, which is riddled with traps, enemies, and blocked paths that force you to gain experience points to level up a specific jutsu. The battle mechanics are the best in the series up until this point. The battles are quicker, snappier, and more chaotic. In this game, they added the ability to use support characters who can attack twice until the support gauge recharges. We also now have team ultimate jutsus if you select the correct support for your main character. The ultimate jutsus in this game are incredibly creative and exciting. The roster is basically the same as in the last game, with some new characters like Sai, Yamato, and others. I had a lot of fun with this game, in my opinion. It's the best of the original Ultimate Ninja series. They retold the first two arcs perfectly, even though the first part of the Kazekage Rescue arc is almost the same as in the last game, with some extra fillers sprinkled here and there. The only thing I disliked was the filler mission, but it's not mandatory, so I would basically rate this game in the S rank. Heroes 1 is straight trash. It's a rehashed game with only one mod from the next installment in the series. It goes straight into the D tier. Now this game is something else. This was my first Ultimate Ninja game on the PSP and I loved it. The story is a filler arc that takes place after the Sasuke's retrieval arc. It's really interesting, involving a huge castle that appears in the village and drains the life force from everyone, leaving it up to Naruto and his friends to stop this ghostly castle. The gameplay mechanics for this mod are okayish but get annoying over time. Essentially you have to move up the castle's 100 floors, and to do that you have to fill the empty rooms by completing various minigames from Ultimate Ninja 2 and 3. After an hour or so, this gameplay mechanic gets stale and boring. After finishing the main story, there's a continuation where you do the same thing but with Jiraiya. Instead of going up the castle, he goes to the basements. This part explores the castle story and Jiraiya's connection to it even further. The other mode is Heroes mode, which consists of predefined fights across multiple stages of difficulty. You select a team and with some light RPG mechanics can influence the battle before it starts by applying buffs or debuffs. The battle mechanics are taken straight from Ultimate Ninja 3, which is awesome. The battle mechanics have been tweaked a bit to fit the PSP controls better. The roster is relatively good, featuring all the important characters from the original Naruto series. I had a blast playing this game while traveling. The filler story is amazing, but the gameplay can get annoying over time. There is a ton to do in this game in terms of game modes. I would rate this game in the A tier. Next up is Ultimate Ninja Heroes 3, which could actually be considered Ultimate Ninja 6. This game is unique because it offers for the first time the ability to have team battles like 2v2, 3v1s or 2v1s. The battle mechanics are a bit different and remind me more of Storm series controls. Attacks are now initiated with the circle button and finished off using the directional pad. The ultimate jutsus here are better than in the previous games and the roster is stacked to the brim, which is impressive for a PSP game. There are some interesting characters like different versions of Pain and school outfit versions of Sasuke and Naruto. The story in this game follows the events from the start of Naruto Shippuden up until the end of Kakuzu and Hidan arc. In it we can play as both Naruto and Sasuke. For Sasuke we play up until he forms the Hebi team. However, the way the story is retold is weird in my opinion. Instead of progressing smoothly from one story section to another, there are multiple filler activities like filler battles and travel missions where you have to go from point A to point B. This just past the playtime and I don't like it. The same thing happens in this game's filler story, which can also be played through the perspectives of Sasuke and Naruto. The story itself is okay, but it's riddled with these filler activities which annoy me a lot. One thing that has never been done before in the Heroes games is that the filler story ends with a boss battle instead of a 1v1 fight, which is cool. The change from the traditional Ultimate Ninja battle mechanics to the Storm-esque battle mechanics threw me off at first, but I got used to them real quickly. Overall, I rate this game in the B tier. Impact is the first and the last attempt at a full-fledged Musou style video game in the Naruto series. This game doesn't have a lot of extra content because it mainly focuses on retelling the story from the start of Shippuden to the end of the 5 Kage Summit arc. Thankfully, they removed the filler activities this time and made the story straightforward and to the point. The story is long, like really long. After each story chapter we unlock smaller filler missions and some of these are actually funny. The story is retold quite well with the still frames and in-game dialogues. The battle mechanics have been adjusted to fit the Musou style, where spamming attacks and multiple jutsus feels fun and engaging. The battles in these missions are insane. In some sections you will need to fight off 200 enemies through the map, which makes you feel like an elite ninja defeating countless cannon fodder enemies. The combat consists of attacks that change depending on the jutsus executed at specific parts of the attack string. The ultimate jutsus in this game look look awesome as well. Seeing Sasuke performing his ultimate jutsus on a bunch of enemies will never not be cool in my opinion. There are also other modes like 1v1 battles and missions. One thing this game introduced from the store series is boss battles with QTE scenes. Of course the animations and graphics don't compare to the Storm games, but for a PSP title they look amazing. Musou games are not usually my thing to be honest, but CC2 implemented it really well and I had a blast playing it. I was genuinely surprised by the boss battles with QTE events. I didn't know the PSP could handle something like that. I rate this game in the A tier. Storm 1, just like Ultimate Ninja 1, laid the foundation on which now the Storm series would build upon. Unfortunately, because of this, the game lacks in content. The story mode is presented through scrolls, with no animated CGI cutscenes. Some sections are 1v1 fights, while the others feature mini-games from Ultimate Ninja 3. The story progression, which forces players to end starts by completing side activities, feels like a filler to me. In some ways, this game feels like Ultimate Ninja 3 in HD. The free roaming has been adapted from Ultimate Ninja 3, with updated visuals and slightly improved controls. With this game, CC2 tested the waters for what they could do with the Storm series. The battle mechanics are what you would expect from the Storm games, although they are a bit slow. The visuals look superb in some instances, they even surpass those of the latest Storm games. The game falls short due to cut story content, the lack of online multiplayer, and frustrating story progression system that force you to play side missions to advance. However, the free roaming is the best in the entire Storm series and the battle mechanics are impressive for the first game. I think I'll place it in the C tier for now. Storm 2 is the first Storm game I ever played and it left a significant impression. The story mode is superb, focusing on the events from the start of Shippuden up to the end of the Pain arc. The story is presented solely through the game's engine, with in-game cutscenes and dialogue sections. The gameplay is similar to Ultimate Ninja 5, where you need to travel the world to initiate the next story scene. I dislike this aspect of the game. It often requires running around the world for about 30% of the chapter's length, which can be tedious at some times. The game introduces fantastic boss fights with full CGI cutscenes and QTE events, making the player feel more immersed in the action. These boss battles capture and present some of the main story's most important fights even better than they were in the manga or anime, in my opinion at least. One standout fight is Naruto vs Pain. The free roaming has been slimmed down and is now more corridor-like. There isn't a lot of extra content, which is actually a good thing since they focused only on retelling the main story, and they did it beautifully. There is a doll-gathering mini mission that locks an extra chapter where Sasuke fights Killer B. This game also introduced online matches, though the connection quality at that time was reportedly not great. The battle mechanics are similar to those in Storm 1, but with additional support types. Each type assists the player in different ways, such as throwing shurikens or helping to extend combos. This game laid the foundation for support mechanics, which will be expanded and refined in the future installments. All in all, this game is awesome and a huge step up from the first Storm game. As someone who loves story retellings, this one does it perfectly. Thanks to this amazing game, I experienced Naruto Shippuden for the first time through this game. I rate this game in the S tier. Storm Generations is the first Storm game that shifts focus away from a deep narrative and instead emphasizes on the battle mechanics. Story mode is replaced with various character tales, allowing players to experience the story from different characters' perspectives. Unfortunately, this is not like Ultimate Ninja 1 with its what-if scenarios. Here we follow the original story plot. The mode is supported by game-exclusive anime scenes created by Studio Pierrot, the studio behind Naruto's anime, which provides deeper insights into some characters and their moments. This game introduced significant changes to the battle mechanics, such as the addition of the substitution bar, the ability to chakra dash to extend combos, and the freedom to jump side to side without stopping. The support system was also updated. While the game may lack in single-player content, it makes up with the new mechanics that influence future Storm games. It's challenging for me to rank this game, as it was more focused on the online experience, which I've heard was quite enjoyable, but sadly I missed out on it. Maybe those who have played can give the insights on how it was to play this game at its peak. However, regarding single-player content, there isn't much to offer. This game also introduced free battle modes like tournaments and league modes. Given its focus on battle mechanics and online play, I would place this game in the B rank. Storm 3 is an awesome game in my opinion. The story mode picks up right after the Pain's destruction arc and continues through the middle of the 4th Great Ninja War arc. This time the game has streamlined the story, reducing the number of sections where you simply travel from one point to another. When travel is necessary, it's handled efficiently, but otherwise the story progresses smoothly through in-game cutscenes. The story presentation in this game is fantastic. There's even a whole section dedicated to Naruto's birth, presented as if it were a movie. I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind watching a Naruto movie with in-game cutscenes like these. The boss battles look incredible and the QT events have been slightly adjusted to be easier while still remaining satisfying. Another great addition is the free battle section inspired by Ultimate Ninja Impact. This game introduces a choose your path feature, allowing you to decide how to approach specific fights, which can make the battles easier or more challenging. Additionally, the game features a non-canon ending where Naruto fights Tobi. The battle mechanics are largely similar to those in Storm Generations, with the main difference being the ability to relay, the removal of restrictions on support types, and introduce instant awakening for some characters. Since Storm 3 focuses more on story retelling and in my opinion slightly improves upon Storm 2, I would place it in the S tier as well. Storm Revolution is another filler game that focuses on gameplay changes and this time adds multiple single player modes. The first is Ninja Escapades, which features 3 distinct stories. In this mode you see exclusive anime scenes before engaging in battles. This mode, much like in Generations, provides additional context to various events, including those involving the Akatsuki, Shisui, and Kid Obito. These insights are enhanced by impressive gaming-exclusive anime scenes created by Studio Pierrot. The second mode is the Ninja World Tournament. Here you participate in tournaments on an island with ranks ranging from D to S. Instead of traditional health loss, players drop orbs, and the person with the most orbs at the end of the round wins. While the concept is intriguing, the gameplay becomes repetitive and tiresome after a while. Although new mechanics like Ultimate Jutsu orbs and Awakening orbs, as well as obstacles, are introduced in the later stages to add variety, the mode can become stale after completing all of the tournaments and extra events. The lack of online play for this mode is a significant missed opportunity. It would have been much more enjoyable with friends. Third mode is the Mecha Naruto's filler story, which is short but interesting. This mode includes surprising CG animated scenes that adds a unique touch to the game. The battle mechanics in Storm Revolution are mostly consistent with previous games, but with the new addition, Guard Stun. If you catch an enemy dashing, you can stun them for a significant amount of time, which can feel overpowered. Additionally, the relay attack is now an item rather than a move that can be used willy-nilly. This is a good game. The tournament mode is a fun idea, but the fact that it's only available in single player is a big miss. Plus the fact if you try to beat all the ranks and side tournaments, with time this gameplay becomes repetitive. The Ninja Escapades is an interesting mode which gives more insights of multiple characters, like how the Akatsuki was created, which I liked. I would rate this game in the B rank. Storm 4 was a mess of a game in a good way and a bad way. The story retelling consists of 60% still frames from the anime, even though they are fully animated CGI cutscenes for a good portion of the story. Another issue is that for the story retelling, we are not able to free roam. Instead, we have a chapter selection screen, which is a bummer. Thankfully, for the ending part of the story, CC2 managed to create some awesome CGI cutscenes and boss battles with great QT events. The boss battles and animations in this game look terrific, way better than in Storm 3. The extra story mode is not good and I dislike it with a passion. In it we follow a small story with Naruto, Sakura and Hinata, and that's it. There are some side mission activities, but they are not fun and all of the dialogues are just text. The battle mechanics were updated in the sense that now we're able to swap between the supporting characters and choose a different main character in the heat of battle. Additionally, while fighting, chunks of clothes will fall off the characters if they receive a large amount of damage. The fighting now felt even faster and more creative, especially with the leader swap mechanic, through which you could perform some gnarly combos. One thing I hated the most was trying to get S ranks for the story mode. The conditions for achieving them are a bit insane, considering that you need around 90% health, the enemies are really aggressive, and the QT events are a tad bit quick. It's not impossible to get certain S ranks, but you will need to retry some specific sections. You can feel that CC2 really rushed this game with half-baked story mode in terms of multiple steam frames and an interesting adventure mode. It's a shame because if CC2 had more time, this could have been an even greater game. This game retold the manga story before the anime was able to do it. All in all, I had fun playing this game. Even though the story mode still frames rubbed me the wrong way, I would put this game in the A rank. Storm Connections is a superb game and no other Storm game stands a chance. I'll put this in the S rank. Just kidding, this game is not great. The history mode in this game is a joke. We relive Naruto's story, but the execution is awful. This mode is filled with anime still frames and the transitions between the original Naruto and the latest anime episodes within the same chapters is jarring. If you expect this mode to include content from previous games, you're mistaken. Was it really that hard to incorporate the animated cutscenes from the previous games instead of relying on still frames? Additionally, the story retelling is poorly done. For instance, the Kazekage rescue arc is reduced to a quick recap and a single Deidara fight. Numerous bosses from previous games are missing. The extra story mode is much better in my opinion. It's actually the only thing that saves the game, at least from a single player's perspective. The story is interesting and fun, but it comes with some drawbacks such as removed free roaming and heavy lore, which I don't mind, but some people might. The new characters introduced in this mode are intriguing, but unfortunately they are not usable in the game, at least not yet, though I suspect they'll be added as DLC characters. The roster is the largest ever, featuring every character imaginable, including Boruto related characters. The battle mechanics include new, somewhat controversial features. Chakra regenerates ultra fast if you stand still, and the tilt moves have been removed, replaced by a second jutsu, which brings back the old Ultimate Ninja vibes. The game's reception was poor at launch. A full-price game with such limited content deserves criticism. Online play is relatively fun, but if you're higher ranks, you'll encounter players who exploit the meta and use annoying support setups. Supports in this game significantly influence online matches. Despite these issues, I'm having a good time with the online part, even if I get my ass kicked. However, for me, the most crucial aspect is the single player content. Considering the high price, which is not justified, the poor history mode, which the original Ultimate Ninja games did better, the online issues, and the redeeming special story mode, I placed this game in the C tier. After playing and ranking each game, I found that each entry in the series is unique in its own way. Some games introduce groundbreaking features while others made questionable changes. The series, especially the main titles, retells Naruto's story in a way that's often better than the anime, in my opinion. Thanks to these games, I was able to delve into and experience the incredible Naruto story, and I love the series with all my heart. I enjoyed playing every one of these games, except for the first Heroes game. It feels like a fake Ultimate Ninja game. I hope you all enjoyed this tier list. What do you think of this list? Do you agree with the rankings? If not, what would you change? Let me know in the comments below. But yeah, that's all from me. I wish you all a nice day/evening. Bye guys.